Hey, welcome to the Monday morning show. That's Ryan G. Hensley. I'm G. Cohn. This is G squared.
Two G's.
Niners, yeah, two G's. The Niners won again. They're really good. They're 11-3. They may never lose again. They may be one of the best teams of all time.
Yeah.
I predicted this team would go 10-7. No, excuse me, 11-6. I said 11-6. Just to be generous.
Mm-hmm. I think I said
What
the same.
did we not see coming with this 49ers team? Because I feel a little blindsided.
Yeah. So the reason why I think I predicted the same 11-6. I think there's two things that we didn't see coming, or I guess you could say three. The first one is, and I'm not superstitious, but I'll knock on wood for the people that are. The first thing I didn't see coming was health. The health of this team has been a big difference maker for them this year. Previous years, we're going through 2-3 quarterbacks, like multiple people are injured. Health has been a big difference maker for this team, why they've been so successful, even on the skid, the games they lost. I think a lot of it had to do with health. Yesterday we saw the 49ers struggle a little bit in the run game because of the absence of Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead. So health is a big factor for the success and the failures of this team. That's one thing we did not see coming. And the other part, the reason why the 49ers, they gave up 29 points yesterday, which isn't good. They gave up 200-plus rushing yards yesterday, which isn't good. But what we didn't see coming, or what I didn't see coming, is Brock Purdy playing like the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's what I really did not see coming at all.
No.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference. I mean, this offense is carrying – the offense carried the team yesterday. And we never had that. We were able to say that about a 49ers team under Kyle Shanahan on the 49ers so far, and I did not see that coming.
No, I didn't see it coming either. I mean, he wasn't good in training camp. A lot of people said it didn't matter, but he wasn't good in training camp. And it was because he was coming off a serious injury, which was understandable. He was on a pitch count. He wasn't throwing every day. He was fresh off a serious surgery. And I didn't think it necessary. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if it meant that he was going to revert back to being a backup or that it was going to take him a while. But I don't think anyone thought he was going to win an MVP fresh off this injury, not even a year removed from this injury. So his rapid recovery, and not just recovery, but his ability to improve. His arm looks stronger than last year. Has been shocking. Incredible. And it's got to be the mark of a elite upper echelon competitor.
Yeah. I have confidence in this team like I haven't had confidence in a 49ers team in a long time. I was even thinking about it with Cap and those guys. I definitely didn't have confidence like I do now with the 49ers team that went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. I was like, man, maybe we could pull it off. But with Jimmy, I just never had this level of confidence. Even with Cap, I did, but it was kind of surprised the way he played in the postseason. He kind of just jumped out. But at this point in the season, I don't think I had this level of confidence in that team either. It's been since the 90s. And I think the biggest part of it is because this 49ers offense is playing at the highest level they have since the 90s. Since they had Steve Young, probably since 1998, we haven't seen this level of offense. So the fact that the 49ers have a great defense like they've always had under Kyle Shanahan, and now they have an offense that's just as good, if not better, than the defense, I did not see that coming. It's crazy to think about Brock Purdy going from last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. He was not pushing the ball downfield like he is this year. Then he gets a UCL injury, and he has to have surgery. I don't care if you were the biggest supporter of Brock Purdy last year. You didn't see this level of coming where he's leading the NFL and in virtually every statistic. The 49ers have the number one offense in the NFL. You did not see that coming. You might have really thought Brock Purdy was going to be good and he was a playmaker and he's better than Jimmy and all that stuff. But did anyone really say he's going to be the MVP next year coming off of the UCL injury? I don't think anyone saw that coming. And it's why I'm so confident in this team and excited about this postseason.
Yeah, I didn't hear that from anyone. I think he's really exceeded even probably his own expectations. So let's talk about it. Brock Purdy, he keeps having phenomenal game after phenomenal game. he's probably going to win the MVP. He almost certainly will win the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best quarterback in the NFL.
He's playing like it. He leads in passing touchdowns, passer rating, passing touchdowns per interception, passer touchdowns per interception, yards per attempt, yards per completion, wins. I mean, he's winning in every statistical category. He is playing like the best quarterback in the NFL this year. Is he the best quarterback in the NFL? I don't know. Look, when Cap came out and balled out for that year and a half, that 18 months or so when he was the quarterback for the 49ers, I thought Cap was going to be the answer for years to come for the 49ers. When Jimmy came out and balled out 5-0 and the 49ers made him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, I thought he was going to be the real deal and guide us to the promised land. So the only reason why I'm not ready to say Brock Purdy is the best quarterback in the NFL is because I've seen guys like Patrick Mahomes do this for years, win multiple Super Bowls. And I'm not so sure if you didn't put a few of these quarterbacks, these elite quarterbacks like the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure if you put those guys, Joe Burrow, if you put those guys on the 49ers, that this team would be any worse than they are right now or not better than they are right now. So I'm not going to say Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the NFL. I need to see him. Look, if Brock Purdy goes out and wins the Super Bowl, like I honestly think they're going to. I hope they're going to, and I think they can. If he goes out and wins a Super Bowl and he comes back next year and performs at the same level he's performing at now, I think I might be ready to have that conversation. But I will say that I think if you're a quarterback in the NFL right now, you want to be playing for this team. You want to be in Brock Purdy's situation with Kyle Shanahan down that plays for you with these weapons to pass to. So it's not a knock on Brock Purdy to also admit that he's in the best situation a quarterback could probably be in the NFL, but he's also executing at the highest level right now too. So it's entirely possible that he becomes the best quarterback in the NFL and he's on the best team in the NFL in the best situation. That's possible. I just need to see it over a longer period of time. But man, if he's not the best quarterback in the NFL, he's top 5, 6, 7 right now, I would say. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. And I did not see it coming.
It's hard to say that he's the best quarterback in the NFL because of his numbers when the quarterback with the second best numbers pretty much across the board is Tua, who I think when like Niner fans or non-Dolphin fans look at the Dolphins objectively from afar, you're like, yeah, okay. I mean, Tua's not that great. He's not bad. In fact, he's good. But is he a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? Maybe? Borderline? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's other guys I'd take over Tua. He's on a really good team with a really good coach. And that's why his numbers are so good. I mean, Brock's on a really good team he's on a better team with a just as good of a coach. That doesn't mean he's not good. But if a supporting cast and a really good play caller can make Tua look like that, I mean, Tua would be the MVP this year if Brock Purdy didn't exist. So you got to factor that in a little bit. That being said, he's really, really good. And I think what we didn't see with him, his traits that are elite, his field vision, man. 2 things. Field vision and like, you could call it poise, but I'm going to call it like just calmness.
Yeah.
Almost boredom. I didn't watch Joe Montana. I'm born in 88. So I'm used to Steve Young, who was kind of frenetic. Jeff Garcia, who is extremely frenetic. And I like that style of quarterback. But Brock is much more low-key, like Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana. I'm not saying he is those quarterbacks, but that's his demeanor. And it's a lot of fun to watch a quarterback who's so unfazed.
I think I could say that I think you can make an argument that Brock Purdy has the best vision and the best poise out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I think you could say that. Like, you could definitely make an argument for that. He's calm all the time. That's why they call Joe Montana Joe Cool. Same presence. And you see that from Brock Purdy. He can see the field. That's one thing I noticed. Everyone knows I was concerned about his arm strength last year. But one thing I noticed in the preseason last year was that he's a playmaker and he sees the field very well. That you could see almost immediately, which is also strange because he's not the tallest dude. And you think or you hear that you got to be a big guy to be able to see the field well. But it's really his mental, the mental part that Brock Purdy has that you just can't judge coming into the NFL. You can't scout really. It's really hard to tell. And then until they actually play in an NFL game, Brock Purdy might have the best vision in the NFL. He might see the field better than anybody in the NFL. He might have the best poise now that Brady left in the NFL. Those things might be true, man, based on the way he's playing. But I just need to see it out over a longer period of time.
I think he's definitely the most valuable player in the NFL, and I'll say why. I think he's the biggest cheat code in the NFL, and I'll say why. He's really, really good. He plays the most important position, and he makes $900K. I think his salary is, and like, you didn't have to give up barely any draft pick to get him. You didn't have to spend a draft pick. You didn't trade up for him. He's a glorified undrafted free agent, making less than $1 million a year, and he's playing MVP level quarterback for you. That's the biggest cheat code in sports. Yeah. In a salary cap league where good quarterbacks routinely make $35 million, you get a guy who's very good and he's making next to nothing. He's making like the CBA won't allow people to make less than what he's making. That is a cheat code. And yeah, like you could have Patrick Mahomes, but you're paying for Patrick Mahomes. Right. You could have Josh Allen, but you're paying for him. So those teams can never be as good as the Niners as long as the Niners aren't completely incompetent. And they've missed on some huge draft picks, man. They missed on Trey Lance. They gave up. They drafted Trey Lance 3 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 times. They missed on Javon Kinlaw to a large degree. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Trey Sermon, but it doesn't matter.
He's the most valuable player. He is the most valuable player in the NFL. The reason why I say that is because not only what you said, he's on the best team in the NFL. If you took him out of it and you put Sam Darnold in, look, the 49ers could win a lot of games with a lot of quarterbacks, but they're not going to win like this. They're not going to give you the confidence going into the playoffs that they can actually win a Super Bowl, right? Like if Sam Darnold was a quarterback, they'd probably win 12, 13 games, 11 games, somewhere in that range with Sam Darnold at quarterback. I think they could with a lot of quarterbacks, but they're not beating them 42-10 or whatever. They're not dominating the way they're dominating to the level where you think, okay, this team can actually win the Super Bowl. That's because of Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is the reason why I'm confident in this team headed into the postseason and thinking that they can win that 6th Lombardi. I think if you take Brock Purdy out of it and you pop Jimmy Garoppolo in there, I don't have that confidence. And that's why I think Brock Purdy deserves the MVP, because they're the best team in the NFL. And he's putting up the best numbers in the NFL, and he's elevating this team. He's not along for the ride like Jimmy. He's actually elevating the players around him. He's executing perfectly, and he would have my vote right now if I'm voting for MVP.
Yeah, I'd have to give it to him too. And I think Cam Newton said, no team is looking for the next Brock Purdy in the top 10. You're looking for a difference maker. But I think it's such an interesting discussion. And Cam even said it, really, there's only 5 difference makers. See, if you're in pursuit of a difference maker and you don't have the number 1 pick in the draft, even if you do, the Panthers took the wrong one. It's so hard, and it's so bad for you really got to be certain you got a difference maker if you're taking a quarterback in the first round. Otherwise, there's no reason to, unless you're absolutely certain, because it's clear college football is producing extremely high-level game managers. Extremely high-level game managers, guys who've played a lot of football and can play right away and win right away for nothing. That's your best option. So I disagree with Cam on that one. I do think teams are looking for the next Brock Purdy. That's why Jake Browning is starting right now. That's why Nick Mullins is starting right now. I think the rest of the league is getting it. I think they're starting to get it.
The thing is that where Cam Newton's theory is flawed is he's saying a difference maker from like an athletic standpoint, from an arm standpoint, from a size and build standpoint. But Brock Purdy is a difference maker, and it's from the mental standpoint, from the brain, from the mind, right? He is adaptable.
I think he means like a guy who can cover up warts, a guy who you take with the first pick, you give a bunch of money, and you say, we're not going to have a complete team, but we're going to have a great quarterback, and he's going to make up for these things. And I think like maybe that's a flawed way of building a team anyway, because these quarterbacks are getting too expensive. And as long as there's a rookie wage scale and you can get quarterbacks making $900K and they're good, it's hard to compete with teams that have that and don't spend on the position. So it seems like we've been talking about this for years. Yeah. As soon as teams figured out and embraced the cheap quarterback and it worked, they're going to have a huge advantage. It's like you have 40, 50 million extra in salary cap, essentially. And look at the Niners. Why are they so much better than the rest of the league? Why are they scoring 35 points every week? Because, man, they got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and replaced him with Javon Hargrave.
Yeah.
And a better quarterback for free.
Well, one thing where Brock makes up for already, he's already making up for. that the team has a weakness in is protection. This offensive line is not doing a great job of protecting Brock Purdy, but his elusiveness in the pocket, his quickness, short area quickness, he's making up for that in evading the pressure and creating off script. I think that goes under appreciated a lot when it comes to Brock Purdy's game. They think he's just, passing to open guys, but he's not doing it all out of the pocket. He's avoiding sacks and pressures. If Jimmy Garoppolo was there, he's taken way more sacks than Brock Purdy has taken this year. And what I like about Brock Purdy's game, and as far as being a playmaker and a difference maker, is the way that he makes a difference is with his mind, and that's more sustainable long term than if you're making a difference with your athleticism purely, right? If it's mental that you're making a difference with, that can be sustained and that can actually improve over time.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is, we're seeing like a reprioritization of the traits that matter at quarterback, because we were calling Brock Purdy a dink and dunk quarterback, but it's a dink and dunk league for a lot of reasons. One, defenses play a lot of too high coverage. They don't want to give up the big play. They force the check down. Two, almost every game, the defensive line has the advantage over the offensive line. The ball has to come out quick. So the league has become very much a league of distributor point guard quarterbacks getting the ball into the hands of playmakers really quickly and letting them take over. Yeah. That's what a lot of the league is. And it's like, that's what defenses are dictating with these too high coverages and phenomenal defensive lines that overwhelm offensive lines that just aren't that good anymore.
Yeah. So like we called Brock Purdy dink and dunk. I think you and I were probably the main two guys doing that. What? He was. That's the thing that people don't realize.
It works. He has playmakers. You want to get the ball. You want to dink and dunk. Those are explosive plays, and he's accurate. Like it's an effective way of playing football.
But it's not only that. It's last year he was 2 for 6 over 30 yards, right, with an interception. This year he's like
now he has a bionic arm.
Yeah, right. So he's even Brock Purdy admitted. They asked him, what's up with this deep ball stuff? Like, is this part of your game? Has it always been part of your game? And he's like, no, I didn't do this in college, and I'm getting used to the offense, and so I'm doing it more now than ever. So me looking at Brock Purdy last year, seeing what he was doing, and assuming that he was dink and dunk and his arm strength was a problem, I don't think was that far off, to be honest with you. But what I was wrong about is his ability to develop it into it. I never thought he was going to develop into the guy he is today, or especially coming off a UCL injury.
But what I'm saying is, like, these highly talented game changer quarterbacks, like Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, they come into the NFL and they have to learn how to dink and dunk, because you don't have as much time anymore. You don't have the playmakers you had. You don't have the advantages you had in college. All of a sudden, you have to just execute the offense, keep it on time, and don't make it all about you. Don't try to be a hero. You were a hero in college. Don't be a hero anymore. And it's like they have to learn how to do that. And the NFL is not a developmental league. And Brock Purdy already knows how to do it. There's a lot of these quarterbacks coming in the league. Oh, you were watching football yesterday. Bailey Zappi was balling for a while. Nick Mullins a couple of days ago was balling until he couldn't do the quarterback sneak. But that's a different thing. I'm just saying, there's a lot of these quarterbacks who really manage it's like managing the game is a prerequisite. You call someone a game manager, it's like, oh, that's all you can do. But if you can't manage the game, dude, you're not a starting quarterback. And a lot of these guys have to learn. The top 10 picks have to learn how to do it when there are guys taken in day 3 that have been doing it year in and year out for years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah, and there's dink and dunk is, to your point, it's a major part of the game in the NFL right now, and you got to be able to do it. It's only a problem. It's only a problem if that's all you can do. And I was worried last year that that's all Brock is going to be able to do. This year, he's more than shown that that's not all he can do. He can take the top off as well, and that's the difference.
And as we can see too, like if you're that good on dinking and dunking, if you have that many weapons who can take short throws and make them big gains, if your run game is that good, you're going to get a lot of single high coverage, press man coverage, and when it is time to throw deep, how often are his guys wide open?
Yeah,
nothing against Brock, but like that's why someone of his skill set can have a complete game, because defenses are overcommitting to take away the short stuff and leaving themselves vulnerable to the long stuff. And he's not Jimmy Garoppolo. He can hit it. I mean, his deep throws are kind of low, and you wouldn't want him to try to test double coverage or try to thread the needle like that, but he can see it when it's open. He can see the whole field. He consistently finds these open guys and hits them. And like, man, he's really good.
There's a statistic came out yesterday. So, people think this is hate on Brock Purdy. It's not, but Brock Purdy completed 10 of 12 passes for 165 yards and 3 touchdowns when targeting open receivers yesterday with 3 yards of separation. Purdy became the first quarterback to throw multiple touchdowns to receivers with 10 plus yards of target separation, the first time since 2021 with Dak Prescott. So the reality is Brock Purdy is executing at a very high level. So is Kyle Shanahan. So is this entire offense. It's all a perfect marriage, and that's what gives me confidence about this team and this offense going into the postseason.
Yeah, the way the Niners are built with, really no money set aside for the quarterback position and not a lot of money invested in the offensive line, Brock is perfect. He's the best quarterback they can get at that price point. He operates the system perfectly. He can protect himself behind this offensive line. As long as Kyle Shanahan isn't trying to block premium edge rushers with backup tight ends, he's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's the best quarterback. It's like they're better off with Purdy than Patrick Mahomes. Because if they had Patrick Mahomes, they'd have to get rid of 5 players. You understand?
At that price point, they're better off.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's the reality of the NFL. There's no Now, if there were no salary cap and there were no rookie wage scale, and he was getting paid whatever the market dictated, and the Niners called up Kansas City and said, hey, let's swap, they'd say, no, we like Patrick. Thanks a lot. Have fun with Brock.
Who's a better who's as good or better processing and seeing the field than Purdy? I would say Mahomes and Burrow. And I'm trying to think of another one. I think if you're looking for processing, seeing the field, understanding the offense, calm demeanor, Mahomes and Burrow, Purdy, probably your top 3 in that regard. I don't know if I can think of another one. Who else would process as well as Brock Purdy outside of those 2, in your opinion? I got Burrow,
processes as well.
Mahomes, Purdy.
I mean, Tua is doing a pretty good job with that in his version of the Shanahan offense. I don't know, man. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard to judge. It's hard to judge process, and that's why everyone missed on Brock Purdy coming out of the draft. Like 32 teams passed on Brock Purdy 7 times. Niners passed on him 6 times before they drafted him. So it's very hard. How do you judge processing? It's hard to judge that. And I think that's why so many people missed on him.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, like there's that S2 cognition test, right? It's like they're trying to get it. But I think this, to me, processing is something that you can probably scout and see if the guy played 4 years in college. And I think that's what we're starting to see. Reps matter, experience matters. And if you want to be a guy who can make the most of his opportunity when you get it, you have to have played a lot of football. And Brock did. Like Jake Browning, he's having some success right now. 4-year starter at Washington. Like Bailey Zappi just took Mac Jones' job. Well, Mac Jones started for a year and a half, and Bailey Zappi started like 5 years in college. I think we're seeing, unless you're freaking a true game changer with a hell of a coach, man, there are better quarterbacks than you. Like you're getting drafted in the first round based on potential that you can't fulfill because it's not a developmental league, and there's better quarterbacks getting taken later in the draft. I think that's what we're starting to see. It's not a developmental league. You can get paid to play quarterback in college, stay in school.
I mean, that's what I liked about Stroud coming out of that. I had Stroud as the number 1 quarterback coming out of the draft, and that's what I liked about him. The way he could just process, just natural, calm demeanor, makes every throw, and that's why he's so successful. That's the main attribute for, who was it? Jesse Sapola, 49ers legend. He tweeted out, like, the main thing you're looking for in a quarterback, and he's basing this on what his experience with 49er greats is, can you just stand there, process, make the throws with the heat in your face?
Well, but think about it, though. It's the main thing if you got Bill Walsh. It's the main thing if you got Kyle Shanahan, right? And because it does matter the context. And Cam doesn't understand this because he didn't have this in his, bless his heart. He played for freaking Carolina.
Right.
And it wasn't as simple as, hey, sit back in the pocket and process. No. His weapons weren't that good. His scheme wasn't that good. He had to make plays. He had to play like a hero, and he did. Brock doesn't have to. A couple times a game. Every quarterback has to a couple times a game. But essentially, someone's open every play because the players are all that good and Kyle's that good. And he just has to find the guy. And you know what? Gosh darn it, he does.
He's really good at it. He's really good.
He's really, really, really freaking good at it. But if you put him on some bad team and said, "Now go show us that you're elite,"
it would be harder because guys are not quite as open. Guys are not quite as
open. And only some quarterbacks can even try to pull that off. And Cam, he did it 1 year. He did it 1 year. Essentially,
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, those guys have to put the team on their back. They have to just carry the whole entire team. It'd be interesting to see how those guys responded on a team like the 49ers. But what I know is that this is just seems like the perfect marriage. The price, the processing, the offense, the play caller, the weapons. That's why I'm so confident in this team.
Isn't this a much more realistic way to build a team? Instead of saying, try somehow, some way to get a super duper quarterback and have him just cover up all kind of problems. But just, it's like, how do you get that guy to begin with? And then you get him and you give him all this money and your team isn't that good. Or so, you know what? We're not going to wait around for that superhero quarterback. We're going to build up the rest of the team and just get a guy who can process. And you know what? College is producing those guys left and right.
Accuracy and processing. Accuracy and processing. Yeah. Can you process?
You can see it. Yeah. If a guy started 4 years, you can see it. Does he have the accuracy? Does he have the processing? It's on tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to really watch the film. You got to watch the film. It's going to be interesting to see how the drafts, how they look like moving forward when it comes to these quarterbacks. Like, are they, I mean, damn, like the Panthers really messed this one up, you know? I mean, I'm curious to
compare Bryce Young to Brock Purdy's arc. Okay. Bryce Young's at Alabama playing for the best team in college football. Then he has to go to the worst team in the NFL. That's a recipe for success. I mean, for failure. Yeah. Then you take Brock Purdy at Iowa State. It's a middling college football team. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to the Niners. All of a sudden, the game just got easier.
Yeah.
People are more open. His supporting cast is better. His advantage over the opposition is greater. Like, that's what you can create for some of these quarterbacks coming out of college. Like, hey, the game just got easier for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your players are better. Your teammates are better. Like, that didn't happen to Bryce Young.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, man. I'm curious what's going to happen in this coming draft in regards to quarterbacks and how, if you know, it really seems like the Brock Purdy effect.
The Brock Purdy effect.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be fewer teams trading up, reaching for quarterbacks in the top 15. You know why? Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett,
Zach Wilson,
Mac Jones,
Trey Lance.
Like, all that. Zach Wilson, it's just a disaster. And it's like, those are unnecessary risks to take. Teams used to justify, like, well, you know, you got to take a shot. You got to have a quarterback. It's like, and look at all these guys who are good right away, taken late. Like, adjust what you're looking for.
Shout out to D'Amico. He was able to nail it when a lot of teams aren't able to, right? Like, I think he nailed it with the second draft pick last year when it comes to Stroud, but it doesn't happen very often lately, at least. So, yeah.
Also, the Brock Purdy effect, teams getting rid of their overpriced mediocre quarterbacks. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, the market for the overpriced mediocre quarterback is gone. Goodbye. Game managers are a dime a dozen, and they're cheap.
Jimmy.
And you can find them every day. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Gino. The Jimmy Gino tier of quarterback is gone. Yeah. Why? Because to me, it's the same principle as like paying Mike McGlinchey $17 million a year. Why are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's a right tackle? Like, Colt McKivitz is just as good.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I still would have liked them to. They need to approach that right tackle the way you're talking about approaching with Brock Purdy. They need to just. It would have been nice if they got DeJuan Jones over one of these tight ends that we haven't even seen touch the field this year. So it's not like it's okay to neglect that right tackle spot. It would have been better if they had approached it in the draft like everyone wanted them to. But with a quarterback like Brock Purdy, you can kind of camouflage that and get away with it.
Just got a text from Jesse Naylor, friend of the show.
Tell him
he's making some good points. I saw your topic with Ryan. If Nick Mullins is a backup and can play like a low-level starter, and Jimmy Garoppolo is a low-level starter / fringe backup and can play like he's a top 12 quarterback, then does it stand to reason that if Brock Purdy is even top 20, he can play like an MVP on this team in this system with these weapons? It's an interesting point, right? Like, when Jimmy was here, we had how many spreadsheets told us that Jimmy Garoppolo objectively, by every measure of advanced statistic, was a top 10 quarterback? He wasn't. We see that now. He's not even a top 30 quarterback, but he looked like a top 10 quarterback on this team in this system with these weapons. So just a quarterback necessarily winning the MVP, like Matt Ryan won the MVP in this system, not with these weapons, but with this coach, had one of the greatest seasons ever as a quarterback, not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah. Well, not really elite. I mean, yes, Brock Purdy is being, here's the thing. I never thought Jimmy Garoppolo was a top 10 quarterback. I didn't care what the statistics said. I mean, that's me. I always had him top 25. I thought him between 20 and 25. That's how I always saw Jimmy, even when at his peak. I always saw him that way because he was a first read quarterback. He was a statue in the pocket. I never thought Jimmy was that guy. So, yes, this team and this offense and these weapons are elevating Brock Purdy, but also Brock Purdy's really good. Like, I don't think Brock Purdy is he's nowhere near Jimmy Garoppolo's level. I still think Brock Purdy is top. He's top 10, top 12.
It's also really hard to critique any quarterback making $900K. Once he starts making $35 million a year, the gloves will come off. But right now, it's like, how can you be mad? It's a free quarterback, and he's really good.
I think he has. I honestly think he has easily top 5 processing. And so to me, that's what matters.
Like the Niners traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance, got nothing, and then Brock Purdy was like, hey, I'll play the position for free at an MVP level. And I was like, thanks, that's exactly what we need, because we have no money left over for this position and no draft capital. But if you just want to be Harry freaking Potter, who is he? He's like King David, right? I mean, he is that story. He's just the unassuming King Arthur. He's just the unassuming kid who happens to be the king of the kingdom. So salute Brock Purdy. Let's do some prize picks. I'm getting a little too worked up. Prize picks. Let's do it. Hold on. All right. So we're going to start off. The thing that's cool about prize picks, a lot of times they have like a free square. So today, if you play, use my promo code Cohn, COHN. But if you play, you can click on Kevin Durant. If he gets more than half a point, you win. So it's a free one. Let's get down to Monday Night Football, though. We got Eagles and Seahawks. Who do you think's going to win this game?
Well, first of all, is Hurts even playing? Because I know he got degraded to questionable because he's sick. He's flying separately out to the game. He's not.
I would assume he's going to freaking play.
Okay.
I would assume he will. So let's start with him right there. I think we got some easy ones. How about this? Half. What is it? More. It's like a free square.
Half of what? Oh, a touchdown?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's pick that one. That's free money.
That's free money. Let's take that. Thank you very much.
Either running or passing. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. How about Devontae Smith? How many of these free squares do we get, dude? Oh, I don't know. I'm liking it. How about more than half of a touchdown for Devontae Smith? You like that?
Devontae Smith, half a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, why not? Yeah, I mean, what's this one with Gobert? What's that one? 24.5 receiving yards?
Receiving yards? Oh, my God. Should we do that one?
I would say yes.
Ooh. They're going to tell us we can't do this. I'm not understanding. I like to learn prize picks as I go along, but like these are great. 39.5 rushing yards for DeAndre Swift.
Can we do all these? Because like that's easy money right there if we can do that. Are they going to say no?
I'm taking that. I don't know. Did they say no? I'm just going to do it and see what happens. Okay. AJ Brown.
59.5. I don't know. Do we have to do a Seahawks one as well? Or do we have to only do?
Yeah, let's do a couple Seahawks ones.
Yeah, let's check out the Seahawks. That's a lot of free money right there. If they're going to let us play those, dude. Yeah.
Okay. More than half a touchdown for DK Metcalf. Yeah.
Wait, look, the 39.5 receiving yards for Metcalf is probably even better. Yeah.
That's even better. Okay, one more. No, not Jackson Smith. No, not him. No, he's terrible.
Is Geno out still or is Geno playing?
I don't know. They don't have him on. They don't have a quarterback up yet.
Tyler Lockett, 39.5 also.
Wait, at the bottom?
Yeah.
So let's lock it in. All right, Kevin Durant for more than half a point. Man, this is such a generous Christmas prize picks. Jalen Hurts for more than half a rushing or receiving if he catches a touchdown, which we know they could do in Philly. Dallas Goedert, more than 24.5 receiving yards. DeAndre Swift, more than 39.5 rushing yards. DK Metcalf, more than 39.5 receiving yards. And Tyler Lockett, more than 39.5 receiving yards. Is this going to work?
I like our odds if this works.
It's only to win $80 though, but you know what? That's better than nothing.
Yeah, because they know it's like automatic.
It's place to entry. Oh wow! I think
that's
we won.
As close
I think
as
we're
the
gonna
sure
get that
thing
one.
as you can get. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the game, but that's pretty as close as you can get.
Look, so if you guys like doing prize picks, if you do it along with us, if you use the promo code Cohn to get that 100% deposit match up to $100, I feel like today's a good day to play because you got a game tonight and there's all this generosity from prize picks, man. All these, I don't even know how to work, but it seems like me and Ryan just won $80.
Well, here's what you do. How much did you just bet?
$20.
So if you get all of them right, which odds are kind of in our favor, you're going to win 80. So take the other $60 and try other things. And worst case scenario, you'll break even.
That's right. Thank you, Prize Picks. Remember, use that promo code Cohn, COHN. I implore you. It makes a difference. Thank you very much. All right, let's take that off. Boom. Back to the show. What's one thing the Niners can do better?
Stop giving out the number 10 to players and get Ronnie Bell off of punt return. That's one I'm going to go with. Look, I tweeted on December 3rd, get Ronnie Bell out of punt return. You can see it.
Let's slow down because Ronnie Bell's probably the only person getting criticized after this last game. He deserves it.
Yeah.
But I like Ronnie Bell. I think he's cool. I like him a lot. And I think he's going to be a good wide receiver.
I agree, but not a punt return.
But yeah, no, stop. He needs to stop.
I like Ronnie Bell a lot. I don't mean to just come at Ronnie Bell, but
No, I know you weren't.
He's been sketchy in punt return every time.
Ronnie, you've been sketchy. Ronnie, we're nervous.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Nervous. Yeah, I mean, and I like Ronnie Bell. I like how hard he plays, how hard he blocks. I think he's going to be a really good receiver for the 49ers. I think he's going to contribute quite a bit next year, maybe a Jawan Jennings replacement, but punt return, not especially not in the playoffs. Please don't do that. I would like to change that. That's one thing they can do better, but I have more. Do you have one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a small one because McLeod's coming back and probably this is just temporary. I doubt he's returning a punt or fielding a punt in the playoffs, but the run defense, like, it's not good. It's statistically not good. Now, what's interesting about the Niners run defense, they rank 19th out of 32 teams in yards per attempt allowed. 4.3, 19. That's below average. But the Niners have faced the fewest rush attempts in the league. The fewest, even though that's their weakness on defense. Why? Because they're always winning by a lot because their offense is so good. How many teams are really going to stick with the run down 15, down 20? Well, teams that suck, that can't pass, like the Cardinals, who stuck with the run and ran for 234 against the Niners. And you know that, like the Ravens probably aren't going to fall down by a lot. They have the number one defense in the league.
I believe they run the ball more than any team in
and
the
they can run the ball. I mean, they average 5 yards a carry, the Ravens. They have a great defense. This could be an issue in this upcoming matchup or anytime the Niners are in a close game.
Mitchell from the Ravens got hurt last night, so that's one thing, unfortunately, for Mitchell, but fortunate for the 49ers because that dude is fast, and I think he's out now. But the Ravens run the ball more than any team in the NFL outside of the 49ers, I'm pretty sure. I haven't checked in a couple of weeks, but they were leading in running the ball the most, and then the Niners were second. So they have to stop the run. Now, they didn't have Hargrave. They didn't have Armstead yesterday, and I think that was a big part of it. But the most disturbing thing from the game yesterday to me, Grant, and I want to get your take on why. I tweeted out 4 days ago that Fred Warner deserves to be in the Defensive Player of the Year discussion. And then yesterday, he just looked bad like he did during the skit. What the hell happened to Fred Warner yesterday? Does he depend on Hargrave and Armstead? Or why was Fred Warner so bad yesterday? He missed a lot of tackles. I need your take on it.
I feel like those Niners linebackers are really benefit from those D linemen up front. Like, they don't really have to take on blocks very much. And in the last game, the Niners were sort of getting pushed off the ball in the interior of their D line. And so that's where linebackers get exposed a little bit. Like Fred Warner's, he was a DB in college. Dre Greenlaw, not the biggest linebacker. Like, those are smaller linebackers. And the whole idea is they don't need to take on blocks. They need to run and hit. But in this game, they kind of got tied up. It seemed like they got blocked out of the play. And Warner was a little overwhelmed. Armstead's important, huh?
Armstead, yeah, man. Armstead and Hargrave, I think we underrated them. I'm not saying, at least I did. I think I underrated their importance. Armstead has been huge this year. Hargrave as well. If you're missing both of your starting interior linemen, and shout out to Kinlaw. I thought he did a good job yesterday, especially in the pass rush.
Sack.
Yeah, but it's just not quite the same in run stopping without those two guys there. They got to do a better job stopping the run. They're going to be tested this week coming up against the Ravens. The Ravens run the ball a lot. Lamar Jackson leads their team in rushing. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very good measure of where the 49ers are going into the Super Bowl. I think the 49ers have established that they're the best team in the NFC. Now they're playing the best team in the AFC. This is probably a Super Bowl preview, possibly a Super Bowl preview. And they're going up against a team minus Mitchell, but still runs the ball really well. They got 4 guys that they run on a regular basis. So even without Mitchell, they're still going to run the hell out of the ball, particularly with Lamar Jackson. They got to show this week that they can stop the run. Fred Warner's got to get back on his game. I think with the quality control, and I'm kind of like an apprentice here on quality control, should take some credit, because I think us calling Brock Purdy dink and dunk really motivated him to play like the best quarterback in the NFL this year. So shout out to Grant Cohn and myself for the quality control aspect. I think we should do the same thing for Fred Warner right now. Fred, you don't seem like you can stop the run without your interior defensive linemen. You need to show us that you can against the Ravens right now.
Prove us wrong. Let's take some super chats. Matthew Sanders says, I went back and removed every CMC TD as a method of measuring MVP. Just subtraction, no replacement. Record is 8-5-1. CMC has given them 2.5 wins. I think without Brock Purdy, Niners do way worse than that. Man, that math is way above my head. So thank you for doing that. I don't understand. West Coast Jay says, that year we went to the Super Bowl with Cap, the pass defense was absolutely atrocious, and so was Harbaugh's decisions.
Was it atrocious? I don't know. You had Goldston, you had Whitner, you had Carlos Rogers,
Chris Culliver.
Yeah, I mean, they were hitters, not as good at in coverage.
Chris Culliver was terrible in the Super Bowl, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're
roasted. And Carlos Rogers got roasted. But yeah, it's true. And also, I think Justin Smith was injured, and Aldon Smith was kind of starting to fall off. Chris E. Johnson says, are the Niners going to re-sign Ayuk or trade him?
They better. Yeah.
Tony G says, still believe a Hurts revenge game could be dangerous in the playoffs. Defense doesn't seem to matter in the playoffs. More so who can score the most points.
I'm not worried about Hurts revenge game. This Niners offense is the best. I mean, that's why I'm confident in the Super Bowl this year for the 49ers, because I feel like the offense is as good, if not better, than the defense. So I'm not worried about Hurts, man. I'm really not. I haven't seen a lot from Hurts. He had a good game in the Super Bowl, but I don't know, man. Hurts, he finds ways to win games, and I think a lot has to do with the threat of him as a runner, his offensive line. But I'm not really worried about Hurts going off against our defense. I don't really see that. If our trenches can hold up, I think the 49ers are going to be fine.
Yeah, forget the Eagles, man. Their defense is trash. They're giving up almost 25 points per game. They have one of the worst defenses in the league. Like, there's 4 teams that matter in the NFL right now. We all know who they are. 4 teams. Mm-hmm. And one of them isn't even in the playoff isn't even in the playoff picture yet. But it's Niners. Niners, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills. Those are the teams. Yeah. And I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but those are the teams with the 4 best defenses in the league in terms of points per game allowed. Baltimore, 49ers, Kansas City, Buffalo. Those are the teams that mattered. Eagles, they destroyed their defense. Official BNA Music 88 says, recall BP's first presser, self-esteem king. I don't remember it.
All I know is you got to have confidence in sports. I teach this to my kids. I can't stand those coaches that like try to break players down like it's 1982. You got to build their confidence. Having confidence is it's like one of the most important things in sports. You got to have confidence.
No question. Flav, to Grant's point, in terms of value, Brock is possibly the most valuable player in NFL history. MVP caliber quarterback for free, less than a typical rookie deal. Yeah, it's unprecedented. I mean, Russell Wilson was like this. I bet he wasn't making much more than $1 million 10 years ago when he won the Super Bowl. Similar. West Coast Jay says, when the opposing team starts to get hot, Purdy takes the team right down and scores. I didn't feel that confidence that everything was going to be okay with our other quarterbacks.
Agreed.
For sure. Josh Duran says, Cam's hatred for Brock stems from Macaroni Jones.
I see the correlation there. He got replaced by Mac Jones. I don't know if that was a good decision. I don't know. I think I might have kept Cam.
Yeah. Flav says, I think CMC gets offensive player of the year. Purdy gets MVP. Only player that can realistically win it at this point is Lamar if he wins this week. Dak, Hurts, done. Yeah, if Lamar wins this week, he's the MVP. So that's a cool opportunity for him.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Kyle isn't getting any love for coach of the year, dude. Like, look what he's done with Brock. He gets no credit for this? Are you kidding?
I think he should be in there just because of the accumulation of everything he's done over the last 7 years is paying off now. And even though it's coach of the last 7 years, because of everything he's put together, it's all paying off now.
Like, some first-year coach is going to get this over him.
Wow. It's probably going to be D'Amico.
Shane Steichen is 8-6, and he's going to get it over Kyle. Like, come on. I don't understand how they determine coach of the year. It seems pretty cut and dry for MVP and offensive player of the year, but like, Kyle's not going to get any credit for this. That's silly. This is his production.
I think it's the most with the least for coach of the year. And so a lot of people think he has.
But not an MVP, right? Not an MVP.
Right. It's different.
Why? Yeah. It's different. Zay Torres says Purdy locks up MVP if he balls against the Ravens for real. True. For the MVP, too much sauce, not enough sauce. Says, what's the best story from these exclusive scenarios? Mr. Irrelevant 1 wins regular season MVP, but no Super Bowl. Man, I really. Hypotheticals. Win Super Bowl, plays average, no Super Bowl MVP, or 3 win Super Bowl MVP, no regular season MVP, no guarantee of Super Bowl win.
What's the best?
You want the win. You want the win. You want the Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
You want the Super Bowl win. Moon Man says game manager to playmaker equals Purdy. Okay. Flav says best thing about Kyle's system is that it allows you to get players that are too flawed to go first round, but can still excel in his system. Brock's game is very sustainable too. Could be a fun decade. Debo's another example.
I think these next 2 years are key. We'll see how the 49ers rebuild through the draft. But like after this year and next year where they have to pay Brock, it's going to be interesting how they manage the roster. But definitely this year and next year are huge windows of opportunity.
Nadro 49er says D's looking tired again. We need the bye week. They're going to get the bye week, I think. Daza 0187 says if they're better with Brock Purdy at this price, what happens when they have to pay him $40 million plus in 2 years and Trent retires? Yeah, that'll be an interesting question. They're going to have to figure that out. It's a serious question, but it's not something they have to worry about now. Ryan Mack says in preseason, you said Brock Purdy was Jimmy G 2.0. You owe Brock Purdy an apology.
I didn't say that. Oh, you said that? Yeah.
I just apologize. Sorry, Brock. Flav says, looking back now, do you think it was Trey's inability to process that was his demise, or what do you think Trey's biggest flaws were? Trey needed development. Trey was inexperienced.
He needs
time.
I'm not done with Trey Lance. I don't know if he's not good yet. He just needs to play, and a team's got to give him like a year or two of actual playing time to develop. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
He's not going to get that. That's too. Unfortunately, he's not going to get that. Maybe he will one day. I mean, I just feel like he should have stayed in school. The NFL is not a developmental league. He came out in a really wonky year during the pandemic. His season was cut short. It just was very unusual. And it's too bad.
Paid, though. He got paid. Life-changing money.
He got paid.
Yeah.
But all those quarterbacks that came out during that pandemic year aren't good. I mean, even Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he's kind of.
Okie 49 says, Cincy is proving your theory. Elite quarterback replaced by backup, getting it done with elite players around him. Yeah, it's like, oh, Joe Burrow's doing great. Oh, his backup's doing great for like 1/60th of the price.
Let me ask you a question, Grant. The Bengals, let's say they keep balling, they go to the playoffs, and Browning, who's making $750,000 now, he is on a 1-year contract. But if you're the Bengals, and let's say Browning just balls out, and they go to deep in the playoffs, what do the Bengals do at that point? They just keep Burrows and pay him $45 million, or they try to sign Browning. Like, what do they do?
What they're going to do is they're going to trade Browning and get like probably something good for him.
He's a 1-year contract. Can they tender him and trade him, or
I don't know.
1 year, $750,000?
Well, he's an exclusive rights free agent, so they have his rights.
Okay.
Yeah, they can work something out. But really, I mean, maybe they should just stick with the cheap quarterback and trade the expensive one. Yeah. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says both things can be true. The system elevates him, but he also elevates the system.
True.
Correct. Mac Daddy says Brock reminds me of a mini Brett Favre or Drew Brees without the rocket arm. Okay. Brooke says Purdy is an execution merchant. I like it. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says Ronnie Bell gives me Kyle Williams vibes. Brandon Green says Ray and Bell scare me on returns. Let Juice return. Q says people keep saying Brock isn't elite, but don't realize we used to use elite quarterback for people like TB12 and Peyton. By that metric, only Mahomes and Rodgers is in that discussion. Brock is on his way.
He's got elite processing. I'll tell you that much right now. And then if he plays like this, they win a Super Bowl. He plays like this next year, I'll call him elite easily. Yeah.
Justin Smith or Bosa. Man, they play different positions.
Yeah.
Justin Smith was a D tackle.
He was really damn good.
And they're better against the run. Justin Smith was so good.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have to go Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. JL says, get ready for Monday night. San Fran.
It's going to be nice. Christmas.
It's gonna be, yep, I'll be there. Flav. Ryan, what was that stat you used to say about all the previous 10 Super Bowl teams' offenses? Can't remember, but wonder where the Niners stack up right now.
So it's over. So Brock's trending that way now. I'm going to do the numbers tonight, and I'll talk about it tomorrow on Jesse's show, but it's over 40. So the last, I want to say 4 or 5 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks have thrown for over 4,000 passing yards during the season. Brock's trending that, and over 40 touchdown passes during the season. I don't know if he's quite trending. I think he's trending 36 right now. I got to look at the numbers, but he's close. But those numbers are throughout the league are down right now for all quarterbacks. So he's leading in passing touchdowns and receiving touchdowns. So whether or not he hits the 40 touchdown mark or not, he still has the highest.
He's on pace for 35, but he's leading the league.
He's leading the league. So has the best passing offense in the NFL right now. So that's another reason to have confidence, because the last 4 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks were doing the same thing.
Yeah. Ramelia Sports Report says Niners 4th oldest team in NFL. Purdy contract coming. Young Rams rising. Looking forward to seeing them at the Super Bowl at Levi's in 2026. Again at SoFi in 2027.
Hey, that might be. I'm going to be honest. That might be a sleeper game against the Rams, man. When we play them, because the Rams are playing better than they were when we first saw them, and I'm hoping the 49ers don't sleep on the Rams. I'm hoping we win out, but that's going to be a more of a challenge.
In the playoffs, won. In their last 4 games, they scored 37, 36, 31, 28.
Yeah, I think Niner fans are sleeping a little bit on the Rams. Yeah,
they took Baltimore to overtime. Maybe that wasn't necessarily an indication that Baltimore is fraudulent. Maybe it's showing you that this Super Bowl team, this team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, is
Matt
dangerous.
Stafford is a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's really good, man. And they have good receivers, so you can't sleep on the Rams.
Let's look ahead to the Niners game with the Ravens a week from tonight. How do the Niners match up with this team? I mean, real quick, the thing that sticks out to me, Tom Jensen, who writes for me, pointed this out. What the Niners like to do on offense is take advantage of linebackers and safeties in coverage, because most teams don't have good linebackers or safeties who cover. I mean, they just don't. Ravens do. The Ravens really do. They have excellent linebackers, and they have some very versatile safeties, and it's hard to beat them over the middle the way the Niners beat everyone else. So the only other team they faced that was sort of strong in those areas was Cleveland, who beat the Niners and really made Brock look the worst we've ever seen Brock.
Yeah, and the Ravens beat the Browns. Yeah, it's a challenging game. I think the matchup is interesting, right? The Ravens are almost built to beat the 49ers. The reason why is they have a really good run game. They run the ball more than any other team in the NFL, and they're good at it. Also, Lamar Jackson leads that team in rushing, so he's going to run all day on these guys. From their offense to our defense, that's our weakness, stopping the run. And the Ravens are really good at it. And then to your point, they have a really good defense that is kind of built to go against the Niners' strengths. So that's why I feel like this is not only a Super Bowl preview, but it shows us where we stack up in our possibilities of winning the Super Bowl. I think the 49ers dominate the NFC. I don't really see anybody in the NFC that's that much of a threat to the 49ers, but this AFC, they're a little different. And Lamar Jackson is 19-1 against NFC opponents, and they are basically built. Their strengths are our weaknesses. And so this is going to be the ultimate test. If the 49ers pull this one off, then you can be really encouraged about their chances of winning the Lombardi. If they come out here and they look bad against the Ravens, knock on wood, I hope it's not another year where we go to the Super Bowl and lose, because I really can't take it. But I honestly think I was watching this team last night. I skipped the Warriors game to watch this Ravens game because I'm so curious about them. And man, like you got to stop Lamar. Lamar is their whole offense. If you can stop Lamar, and kind of like how they did with Hurts. But I was talking to Jesse, who watches a lot of Ravens games. His son's a Lamar Jackson fan, and he thinks that this Ravens team is, Lamar Jackson's different from Hurts. You can't just stay in the lanes and allow him to throw because he thinks he can, and he can also get on the outside and scramble. So I don't know, man. This game is probably one of the most hard to predict, especially from what I saw from Fred Warner and his defense. They looked tired yesterday, like they did during that 3-game skid. Yeah. So I'm very curious about how this game works out. Luckily, they got an extra day.
Yeah. JL says, from a Ravens fan, the key to beating the Ravens is using a ton of motion on offense and attacking the tackles on defense. Give us the blueprint to beating y'all.
Good luck, man. It's hard. Brock Purdy can make every throw on the field.
Don't fall behind. Get the lead and keep it. That way you can run the ball. The Niners don't have a good run defense. How to stop their offense. Don't let them beat you with that toss run to the left.
Exploit Colt McKivett rush off the
I don't really know what to tell you on that one, guys.
Niners don't have a lot of weaknesses. If they have one weakness, it's the right side of the offensive line, but the Niners do a good job scheming against that. You got to beat them in special teams.
Scramble your ass off if you're a quarterback, because a lot of times those scramble lanes will be available. Kyler ran for 49 yards yesterday. The Niners try their best to be disciplined, but Nick Bosa can't help himself. He's the biggest defender. He's the one that rushes past the quarterback and opens up scramble lanes. So scramble your ass off. Get out of the pocket.
Here's one though: how's Demo doing right now, Grant? Do we know yet? With the
we'll find out at 2. We'll find out at 2. Yeah.
So that's my worry. If Demo's out and we got Ambry and who's going to be?
I don't know.
Oliver. If Oliver's in the nickel, that's how you attack the 49ers. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Harold McAllister says he's a new member. Also, I'm not certain. Thank you, Harold. I feel like Ambry hasn't really gotten tested the way he will be. Flav says, I think if Brock Purdy gets an extension, it wouldn't really hit the books until after his 4th year. So really we have this year and 2 more, I think. That's true. Like Lamar signed his extension before this year, but I'm sure his cap number isn't astronomical. Just chips away at
guys get really expensive. Like it's not just Brock that gets expensive over the next couple of years. It's like Debo gets expensive, Armstead gets expensive, Kittle gets even more expensive.
True. That's true. The Niners are obviously far and away the best team in the NFC. What's the second best team in the NFC?
You know what, man? I'm going to say something. I'm going to say the Lions are, and here's why. The Niners smashed the Cowboys. Niners smashed the Eagles. I've seen the Cowboys get their stomped by the Bills. I've seen the Cowboys lose to the Cardinals. I saw the Lions beat the Chiefs. Now, they haven't been tested a lot. I'll be, honest about that. But the Eagles and the Cowboys have shown me that they have fraudulent tendencies, whereas the Lions haven't shown me that yet. They beat the Super Bowl champions. They've have a really good offensive line. Jared Goff is the ultimate game manager. They're doing really well. I like the Lions. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say it's the Lions. And as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, I mean, watching the Lions this weekend, it looked like that's a team. I don't know if they can challenge the Niners, but they just look better than the other teams in the NFC other than the Niners. I mean, Jared Goff aside, they have a good offensive line. They have 2 good running backs. 2. They have a bunch of good wide receivers. They have a good tight end. And Goff, I mean, is he worse than Tua? He's decent. No, I mean, the Niners aren't scared of Jared Goff, obviously, but got a hell of an arm, hell of an offensive line, weapons all around. Defense isn't bad. Yeah, I'll take them over every team in the NFC other than the Niners, for sure.
And the Rams, man, don't sleep on the Rams. I don't think they're the second best team, but they're up there, man. I really think they are.
Yeah, 2 teams the Niners don't want to face.
Yeah.
The Rams, that's going to be interesting to see what they have. Let's look at the playoff picture real quick, because another team that I think is kind of sneaking their way in is New Orleans. They have a really good defense. They're currently the A seed. I feel like Minnesota's going to fall out. They're 7-7. I don't know if Nick Mullins can keep it going, but if they fall out, then you'll have the wild cards being Dallas, New Orleans, and the Rams. Be interesting.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
I would, out of those, if Dallas, New Orleans, and Rams and the 49ers have to play them in the playoffs, I'm the most concerned about the Rams.
Yeah. Least concerned about Dallas.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Dallas, because I don't know. Saints, I'm not a big believer in the Saints. Carr, come on. I don't know.
Yeah. They have good defense, though. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's finish the day with some trivia. And this is trivia primarily for Ryan, but if people want to play in the chat, I'll go slow.
Is this multiple choice? True or false?
Nah, man. You
just put me on the spot.
What year were you born? 1979?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay. So you should know.
My memory's shot, bro. My memory's shot.
No. You need to know these. I'm putting you on the spot. Nah, it's fun. Right. What's cool about these is I quizzed my dad and he didn't know them either. They're like, there's stuff you should know, but I don't know that Niner fans do know it. So I'm not digging deep.
Let me just say this before we go. I had multiple concussions as a child, and I also maybe dabbled in nature's herb as a young man. So my memory may not be the best, but go ahead.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Well, I don't know what that means, but let's give it a shot. All right. 3 49ers players all time have won the MVP award. 3.
Oh, gosh.
Name them.
That's crazy. 3 players have won the MVP. Joe Montana.
That's 1.
Steve Young.
He won it twice.
Jerry Rice.
In 89 and 90.
I'm going to say Jerry Rice, but I don't think that's right. Steve Young, Jerry Rice.
Nope. Steve Young. Steve Young won it in 92 and 94.
Yeah.
So that's 2.
I don't know the third
49er who won an MVP.
Damn, dude. Is it before my time? Is it before 79?
It was before your time.
See, who's it? YA? I don't know.
It was John Brody.
Yeah, I see.
In 1970. Quarterback for the 49ers.
Yeah.
John Brody. So theoretically, if Brock Purdy wins the MVP, he will be the 4th 49er of all time to win the award, along with John Brody, Joe Montana, and Steve Young. That's incredible.
That is.
I want to throw that out there.
Brody's such a good name, by the way. Brody?
Yeah, but it's fun to say.
Yeah.
When people say, "What's up, Brody?" they're actually referring to John Brody and his MVP season in 1970.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
Okay. 5 49ers have won the Offensive Player of the Year award. Name them.
Got to be Jerry Rice.
1.
Roger Craig.
2. Hold on. It's 4. 4 have won the Offensive Player of the Year award, not 5. 4. And you named 2 of them. Roger Craig, Jerry Rice. Who are the other 2?
Waters.
No.
Terrell Owens.
No.
Shoot, man.
It's quarterbacks.
Frank Gore. It's all quarterbacks?
No. It's quarterbacks.
Offensive Player of the Year, it's all quarterbacks is what you're saying.
It was Young and it was Montana.
Garcia?
Steve won it. Steve won it in 92. Montana won it in 89. Only 4 49ers ever have won the Offensive Player of the Year. Rice, Craig, Montana, Young. Rice won it twice, in 87 and in 93. If Christian McCaffrey wins, it'll be the first player since Rice in 93 to win the Offensive Player of the Year for the Niners. It'll be the 5th Niner ever.
That's crazy. I thought that's what I said.
Did
I say Craig? Rice, Craig, Steve Young, Joe Montana.
Yeah.
There's 4, right? You said there's 5?
4. Rice, Craig, Montana, Young. I said 5. I was wrong. It was 4. Okay. Last one. 2 coaches have won Coach of the Year for the 49ers. 2. Who are they?
Seifert and Walsh.
No.
What?
Seifert never won it.
Mariucci
never won it.
Harbaugh
won it.
Yeah, that's right.
His first year. Harbaugh won it.
How did I miss that?
What year did Walsh win it?
Damn, dude. You got me out here taking L's, buddy. I'm going to say 82.
81. It's interesting how these coaches win it early in their tenure and never get considered again. You're telling me that Bill Walsh wasn't the coach of the year in 84, 88? Like, come on. Only won in 81. I think that's interesting. Yeah. I'm a big Kyle Shanahan hater, not hater, but critic, but he's really embraced quality control this year, and you can see the results. I really feel like he should win the coach of the year this year. Maybe he will. He's got 3 more games. And maybe if he beats Baltimore, he'll get that.
Well, I think it's good. They look at it like it's changing the culture, right? Like changing the culture, and you can only really do that early off, right? So the Niners have established themselves as a front runner for years now under Kyle. So that's probably why, those guys get overlooked.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was my trivia for the day. That's the show. You're done streaming for the day, aren't you?
Yeah, I do. My show's 9 a.m. every weekday. Go subscribe to that channel. You guys are sleeping a little bit, to be honest.
All right. Yeah. Well, Larry and I are going to be going tomorrow evening instead of today. And I'll be going on with my dad tomorrow morning. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be putting up videos the rest of the day. Stick with me. Have a good day. See you, everyone.